Marvel Rivals needs a new balance philosophy. I'm really sorry, Ziyong, but your way is not working anymore. It hasn't been working for a very long time. I mean, if we compare Season 0 to Season 9.5, I mean, the amount of power creep that's happened in just a year of this game being out is really ridiculous, honestly. And almost every single change, ever since probably Season 1.5, maybe even Season 2, like, there's always been something where the community is like, huh? Like, why did you make that change? And I think if you ask most people, no one's really going to be happy with the direction that the game has gone in at least a year, a very long time, and we've had the same pain points as ever, right? It's supports are too busted, poke is always better, you know, there's just not enough nerfs to the right characters, the same characters are bad every single season. We've all seen the viral videos now of, like, you know, this kind of being exacerbated, triple support being what it is. Ironically, I'm playing triple support right here in this game, but you know, the balance just being so off that abilities and cooldowns just don't matter anymore, right? So the big question is that everybody has been debating is, who do you balance for, the casuals or high elo? Because the casuals kind of don't really care what you do. They just care that, oh, I get to play a freaking dinosaur in quick play, and you know, I just want to bite people, you know, like that's it, right? They don't really care. But unfortunately, they're the ones who buy the skins as well, right? They see, especially that Devil Dino like Jeff skin, like, God, look how stupid that looks. But like, it must be like so fucking fun to somebody who doesn't play the game, right? Like, but my solution is that honestly, we can do both. We've been able to do both. It's been something that's like been done in other games for years. And I think a perfect example is I'm gonna point at the guy next door. Overwatch. Overwatch exists. Overwatch is, I think everybody agrees that Overwatch is a much more competitive game, and it's a lot of people play it and they still sell skins. And now the skins have the similar problems as, you know, Marvel Rival skins do, as in the same female characters, mostly supports, are the ones who get all the skins, right? But if that's what's happening, that means people are buying them, right? Kiriko in that game got a huge round of nerfs to her Suzu, and over time, like to her ultimate and stuff like that. She's gotten pretty much nothing but nerfs ever since the character released. And like, that still being the case, she still gets every single skin. She's almost in every single collaboration. Like, you look at every single collaboration that's come out for Overwatch in the past couple of years, and Kiriko has gotten almost all of them, right? Like, it's crazy. Like, and especially like because of with Overwatch's infatuation with like the Japanese culture, not Japanese, but like East Asian culture. Like, it's you know, the character's always gonna do good regardless of that character's state of balance, and therefore Overwatch is gonna make their money. You know, so it's financially it's feasible to balance the game correctly, and to still make money, right? If that's the goal, because I've seen a lot of people talk about that, like, balance is kind of catered towards the people who are paying the bills, but the people who are paying the bills still deserve a good game. We can't just treat these people like they're stupid, you know? Like, they're not all like 5, 6, 7-year-old kids who are barely learning how to play video games, right? Like, a lot of these people have money, have a job, are not stupid, and I feel like we shouldn't treat them like they are. Like, we should treat our audience with a little bit more respect, and you know, treat them like they're smart, right? So I think the big problem with balance in this game has been just the rise of slop abilities. Now, I don't want to just say slop and say it's slop, right? Like, I want to put a definition behind the word slop, because everybody has their own, but I want you guys to know what I think when I hear the word slop. So slop in this game, in my opinion, is abilities that have any combination of the following: either auto-aim, AoE, high-value abilities, some invincibility, or anything that makes you like ridiculously tanky. Let's give you a few examples. Cloak and daggers, like whole kit, pretty much. It's auto aim and it's AoE, right? She does a little bit of healing and then she does a little bit more healing to everybody who's around, right? That's auto aim and AoE. Invincibility, Cloak and Dagger's team up. Ridiculous tankiness, Bucky. Bucky presses a button and overhealth, right? And it sucks because he used to not be like that, right? Like his slow ability. With his slow ability, he used to only have one, and he had a choice. Do I slow the tank, or do I slow a potential diver, right? Somebody who is going to be in our backline, right? Or not even a diver, just somebody who you have a duel with, right? You have a choice. But now, over time, they gave him a second slow, and in the same season that they implemented Tenacity, they reduced his slow cooldown by 1 second, and in the season after that, they gave him a team up where he can get an even lower cooldown on that slow, so it's even just more and more slop, right? You don't have to think about the ability anymore. You just, oh, tank, shoot. 1, 2, 3, shoot. 1, 2, 3, shoot. 1, 2, 3, shoot. Like it doesn't. You don't have to think about it, and it's ridiculous, right? It's stupid. It's just gotten more and more slop instead of, you know, meaningful skill expression. So abilities like that require minimal thought for high value just have gotten pretty ridiculous. And I think a good example of a character who doesn't have slop abilities and who's really good right now is Mantis, because Mantis has a sleep and that's it, right? Like that's the only that's her only tool against dive, which I feel like most supports have these abilities because they can't really, you know, they don't know how to deal with dive, right? So but Mantis has one sleep and she's still like the best character in the game. She has to aim, she has to land her shots to, you know, to get her petals back. She has to damage boost the right people at the right times. She can't just auto aim. Well, I mean, the heal is auto aim, yes, but it's on a resource, right, that she has to manage. She can't just only heal the tank. So the fact that Mantis is so strong and Cloak and Dagger is in the state that she is in the exact same season with a much less, with a dramatically like lower win rate, is just like, you see the duality of like, you can keep giving Cloak and Dagger more and more slop abilities, more and more invincibilities, but it's not really going to make a meaningful change to the character. And it's just going to make the game more frustrating because she's going to be surviving things that she really shouldn't be surviving. But she's also not going to be winning in situations that a character like Mantis probably would win, right? Because the game is not just about surviving. You can't just out-heal all of your problems. You have to kill your problems in this game, right? You have to win the team fights, right? So slop supports wouldn't require the slop abilities if the following were true, right? They need a little bit more utility, right? Like if Cloak and Dagger had more utility in her... Actually, I do like the fact that she got two blinds. Actually, well, as a tank player, it sucks, right? Because who is she gonna aim it on? She's gonna throw it on the tank the majority of the time, right? Because she doesn't have to think, right? It's slop. It's slop. That's how slop abilities work. You aim the ability at somebody who you don't have, who you're not gonna miss on, right? But at least that has some value in that if you're you know, with your team, you can choose somebody, you can focus them and say, okay, I want this guy to take more damage, so let's all shoot at this guy, right? Like, let's say an Invis ult, right? And you match with the Cloak ult. Well, you can blind the Invis and just perma-blind the Invis and hope maybe your team can focus her and kill her out of her ult, right? So that's some good utility. That will win you team fights, right? Not her invincibility, not her, you know, not all this nonsense, right? I mean, sure, there is utility in staying alive, of course, but there's also a lot more utility in killing things, right? Like if you're more lethal, in my opinion, there's more value in that than being more survivable, right? I mean that's sorry, that's like a blanket statement. I mean, there's some characters who are more valuable at that than others, but I think that's my overall philosophy. But yeah, number one is that they need more utility. But number two is that divers need to have less abilities that are less uninteractable, right? Like, it is so ridiculous that Black Panther exists the way that she is as a character that is invincible, has an invincibility cooldown, and has, like, invisibility, right? Like I feel like that fundamentally goes against like good game design. Like you can't give a character that stuff with the amount of lethality that she has, and because she's like on a money-based system. I mean, she does still have cooldowns, right? But like it almost feels like she has a ton of uptime because, you know, she's not super reliant on those cooldowns. She's more so reliant on hitting her shots. And as long as she's landing her shots and getting her money, it almost feels like she can just stay in the fight like as long as possible. And then, you know, she won't take damage because she's invincible. She has an overhealth. She's invisible, you know, whenever she does decide to take a ton of damage, right? Like, so it's abilities like that you just can't interact with are the main reason that I feel that supports are getting these kinds of abilities. And it's like Marvel Rivals is creating its own disease and then selling its own medicine instead of just getting rid of the disease, right? And I feel like they tend to do that a lot. They do that all the time, like because they just buff, and it's like, well, you're creating a problem, so how about you just remove the problem instead of creating a solution to the problem? You know, like, and keeping the problem there. Like, the problem is still there if you create the solution to the problem, but they have the power to remove the problem if they wanted to, right? I feel like it's a little bit more. I'm making it sound a little bit more complicated than what it is, but that's kind of what I'm trying to say. But what do we need? What do we need, fellas? God, I challenge the devs to have one season where they nerf every single character in this game once. But before they even do that, I know that that's going to be necessary, and there might be some characters that are going to require more than one nerf, right? Elsa Bloodstone, Black Cat, honestly, Cloak and Dagger, possibly Mantis, right? Definitely Magneto. I love Magneto, but he cannot have a 12-second cooldown on that. As a 250-hour Magneto player, I am okay with a 20-second cooldown on his on his sword, but whatever, right? Before that, we need a new direction in the balance, because I feel it's very obvious that the current devs, whoever's in charge of balance right there, is not capable of seeing what's wrong with their game, right? Like they're not able to identify the problems in the or even like just the problematic characters, right? Like they have too much of a balance. Hold on, let me change this gameplay here. Did you guys like my Adam Warlock Uzi gameplay, bro? God, who said that Adam Warlock doesn't work in Celestial, fellas? All right, you know what? I'm gonna show you guys a Adam Warlock gameplay where I only play. Yeah. I played two supports, Adam and Ultron, and I still won. 32k heals, got a bunch of damage. All right, let's roll that one. But anyways, what the fuck was I saying? Oh yeah, Xeon doesn't know how to balance. He doesn't even know what to look for. And one thing that happened a few months ago is they kind of showed proof that they don't really play their game like that much. So if you guys will remember, Marvel Rivals went to GDC. Right, it's a games convention, game director, game developer convention. I'm not even sure what that stands for, but essentially it's just people in the industry who make video games who are there to teach other people in the industry how to make video games, right? And so Marvel Rivals had a presentation about balance, and surprise, surprise, the majority of their balance philosophy had to go off of like numbers, right? And so I remember there was a like a form, not a form, sorry. Like a slide on their presentation that showed like, okay, this person has this much tankiness because of this, and that, right? Like they try to make tankiness a number, right? Now, I've been playing hero shooters for 4 or 5 years now. Tankiness is not a number. Tankiness is a feel, right? Like okay, Thing right now. Thing is ridiculously tanky. Right, but it almost feels like, according to them, right, because you know, Thing has this number, he's not that tanky, he's not that problematic. And the thing is, like, you can't math balance. Balance is a philosophy. Balance is a feeling, right? And there is some science to balance. There is some like mechanical truths to balance, right? But ultimately, the way that you feel about the game, the way that you actually play the game, is always going to be more important than these numbers that you arbitrarily like create for something about something that's not definitively true, right? Like tankiness is not something that you can look at and be like, yes, this character is tanky because he has this stat, right? It's not like It's not like you're playing Elden Ring and you get some armor, right? And the armor has these kinds of stats, right? Like that's not how the game works. You're tanky because of the way that you use your cooldowns, the way that you position, right? The pressure that you're outputting at the right moments, etc. Like that's what tankiness is as a tank. Now that's just one example, right? But they have tons of, I think they had like survivability was like a number. They had a whole bunch of other stuff, and I really wish I had like the slides here so I can measure it. But like they had a whole bunch of complicated math that you like don't need, right? Like nobody in this space is like doing tons and tons of math to realize that Elsa Bloodstone is way too powerful, right? Like it's just not necessary, and it really does feel like the Marvel Rivals devs like are gold players, you know, because of the way that they're balancing the same characters, bro. But yeah, no, they have to play their own game. They need to stop doing this bullshit where it's like, oh yeah, a number because this person has this number tied to like their balance. We can't buff them or nerf them in this direction because according to our numbers, they already have too much. So it's just not true. It's just not real. That's not how the game works. That's just not how hero shooters are, right? So that needs to change. And I'm sorry, that does mean, in my opinion, that Xeon, like, don't fire him, but like give him a partner, give him somebody who's gonna challenge his authority and who's gonna just push the game in a different direction. Because I feel like yeah, Xeon just hasn't done a good enough job for it to really be justified. Like honestly, if they told us tomorrow that Xeon is being replaced by somebody else, right? I feel like a lot of people would be happy, right? And I'm not saying like I want this guy to lose his job, like, but I do feel like you shouldn't be rewarded for doing your job bad, right? Maybe a demotion, maybe keep him on the team as like a developer, maybe like an advisor or something like that. But like we need a new direction. This direction that we're currently in, it's just bad. It's just, I don't understand how how they can take in this much negative feedback and still not fix the game in the way that it needs to be fixed, you know? So once they have a new direction, they have to be bold, because no one is happy. And no one has been happy with the current direction for a long time. I think it's very obvious. I think it's very, 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 very clear. And I don't want them to be blinded by the fact that the game's making a lot of money, because, like I mentioned with Overwatch, you can nerf Kiriko and still give her all the skins, and people will still buy them because she's still Kiriko, right? Like, we can nerf the fuck out of Cloak and Dagger, we can nerf the fuck out of Black Cat, you know, all these characters, all you know, whoever's selling you the skins, and people will still buy the skins. You know, like it's up to you on how you balance the game and where you decide to put the power. But long term, if the game doesn't go into a state where there's just much less slop abilities, there's a lot less skill expression, and people get less boosted in comp, bans need to get better, you know, whatever. That's a whole different discussion. But right now I'm only talking about balance. This is the pivot that the game needs in order for player sentiment to change, right? Because imagine how many skins you would sell if, like, if you also balance the game well, right? Because right now, I'm sure they're selling a bunch of skins. I'm sure they're making a ton of money. But imagine if, you know, everybody said that the game was good because the balance was also really good. You know, like, you can have both. You can have both. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed my my Adam Warlock gameplay. I'm not really gonna let this one play out because no matches it's another 12 fucking minutes. But yeah, I really appreciate the support in the last video. I didn't expect it to get as many views as it did. So thank you guys. I'm gonna try and make videos a little bit more often. But yeah, if you guys agree, let's get it out there. Let's speak it into existence. And dude, hey, small plug to myself. If any of the larger creators wants to bring on a small little itty bitty baby creator like me onto a podcast, I would love to speak on a podcast and give everybody my opinions. Because hey, you know what? I'm Mexican, bro. Hey, I'm gonna pull the diversity card, bro. Make me the diversity hire in that conversation, bro. I'm just kidding. All right, but anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed. Have a good one, fellas.